Campbell provides us with a variety of definitions of myth and their role in society. Let's talk about the social effects of myth, consider Campbell's opinions on sundry topics, and discuss the role of bliss in Campbell's teaching world. Some social effects, or sociological functions, as Campbell calls them, are that they reveal to us a greater, broader human dimension, personifying the experiences, anthropomorphizing them. The myth and the energy of the myth determines the character of the god, and by proxy of the people too. Gods of violence help a warlike people to wage war. Gods of compassion help the peaceful group to sue for peace. The ultimate source of the energy remains a mystery. Where do evil thoughts come from, after all? In decision-making, depending on the dominant divinity that I pray to or have in mind, that determines my decision. Myths help us experience the wonder of life. Wonder, love, or hatred operating in the mind represents gods or goddesses and help me to understand these sublime things through the stories told about them. Is it a muse or a devil that inspires my thoughts? Is it carried on the evil, cold wind or on the chill of a spring breeze? What we do is driven by these stories. The Anthropocene's own myths raise my own individual agency to that of killing the world. My actions are killing the world, so I must modify my behavior to get a different outcome. Continuing with a variety of topics presented here, Campbell complains about religion as stifling the experience of the mystery of the mystical through codification of a literal God up there. How true is this for you? Is this how you see God, or do you even care? Campbell reduces the image of God to the metaphorical mystery of our own being. That is a grand question, and therefore Campbell believes that the gods are created by us out of our own need to find meaning in our own transcendent questioning of existence itself. What do you think? He celebrates the question as the end, preferring seeking the questions to finding answers, as any wise person should. Campbell also gives us a variety of themes and power of myth. He talks of the circle representing the cycle of life, the mandala as being part of the circle, where finding the center of the universal circle is the point, or the symbol of the virgin birth as giving rise to the spiritual person, not the literal birth of the physical body. I had the same fear as Campbell when I created a course on myth. I thought that I would challenge students' traditions and they would lose those traditions. But in fact, the opposite was true. They actually were able to delve deeper into them and find a profound new meaning in what they believed. Challenging them to think harder helped them to understand their beliefs better, and using myth to do so. That helped them understand the role of mythic stories in their lives. Campbell talks of peak experiences relating to harmony and leading to epiphanies. He contrasts Buddha as both peaceful and wrathful and how that relates to clinging to the ego. He distinguishes how everything is within time, everlasting is within time, but eternal is outside of time, and knowing the difference with regard to what you believe is an important distinction. Do you agree with his view of heaven? Myths deal with the metaphysical, and ethics is a way of teaching you how to live as though you were one with the other. And myth puts you in accord, or at least reminds you that acting in self-interest is not ethical. Campbell makes a useful distinction between being and becoming that I didn't myself understand until I was in my 50s and had undergone my second midlife crisis of being and made that transition. Maybe you also will understand the difference at or around that point in your life if you don't already make this distinction. And the favorite quote of many of my students is what being a teacher is all about: giving students permission to follow their bliss, but more than that, finding out what it is first and then following it to the end. Only after both my father and mother had died did I understand his quote of mother and father being experienced more than temporally and having epiphanies associated with relationships, death, and change. There are many other gems by Campbell, so I recommend getting Power of Myth and reading it again over and over every 5 to 10 years to see what you missed when reading it last time. So get the book and read it. Read it repeatedly and often. Myths are not the only thing you can read that have many, many interpretations. The Power of Myth book also provides multiple layers of meaning.